Hello and welcome everyone. We are starting a new chapter which is called directing. In today's video, we will talk about the meaning, characteristics, and importance of directing. Directing is the fourth managerial function. First was planning, the next was organizing, the third was staffing. Planning was about forming an overall blueprint about how the organization is going to look like. And then organizing was about defining the organization structure and creation of roles, creation of jobs that are there, and describing each and every job in detail, and then finding out who should be appointed for which role. So that was organizing. Staffing was about finding the right person for the right job and then appointing them. We saw in staffing chapter in detail about how a person will be screened and then interviewed and then finally selected. So that is about staffing. This fourth the managerial function is directing. This is about after a person is appointed, then what happens? The first thing is have a plan, then create an organization and then appoint people. After the appointment of people, now the organization is like fully loaded. It's like a full petrol tank. How do you execute it after that? What do you do after that? So that is directing. Now let's talk about directing, the meaning of directing. The meaning in very, very simple terms, a person at the top giving instructions to the person at the bottom. In your house, you will be having maid to help you to do the housekeeping work. So you will tell at exactly on that day, okay, go and broom this room, go and mop this area, go and clean that window, go and dry the clothes and do the dishes. Like this, you will keep on giving instructions to the people who work for you. In the same way, every organization, there will be a boss and there will be a subordinate. There will be a superior and there will be a subordinate. So it is the job of the superior to keep on giving instructions to the subordinate. Now let us see what are all the characteristics of directing. The first point is directing initiates action. Now let us understand, if people are just appointed and if they are not given instructions, if they are not told what to do, what will they do then? So when I joined articleship, and there would be a lot of times where there would not be any work. So I would be just sitting in corporate office waiting for work. Sometimes this will go on for 2-3 days continuously. So that means I will just go to the office and I will just be seated whole day reading some book or annual reports or something like that. And I'll just be seated in my office for the whole day. Imagine, even my boss did not have any work. So when there is no work to be done, when there is no command from your higher official, the employees will just come to the organization and they will end up wasting time. So you will end up paying salary to them and it is a big loss for the business. So therefore, somebody has to give command to the employees. So that's the first step. Directing initiates action. Next step is directing takes place at every level of management. There are 3 levels of management which we saw in first chapter. Top level management, middle level management and operational level management. Directing takes place at every level. Managing director will give orders to vice president. This happens at the top management. Then that instruction will go to the general managers. General managers are in middle management. Whatever the vice president got from the managing director, he will pass it on to the middle level management. Therefore, the top level to middle level link is that from VP to general manager. Once the general manager got the orders from vice president, he will start delegating and he will start commanding all the instructions to the people beneath general manager. So like people like deputy manager, assistant manager, executive and so on. So this happens at middle level management. Once middle level management got the final instruction, they will tell the operational level management. For example, a factory manager will get an instruction from vice president of production saying that we need to produce 1 lakh units of goods this month. Then the factory manager will start directing the people who work under him, like normal workers who are at the operational level. So this is the second point. It takes place at every level of management. Whenever there is a superior subordinate relationship, there will be directing, there has to be directing. And then directing is a continuous process. So you also have to understand that directing doesn't just stop at first round of command. My boss will give me one assignment and he will say, go to this place and complete this audit. That's the first act of directing, but it's not that it stops at that moment. Once I got that initial command from my boss, I will go and do my job, and then I will report back to my boss and say that, okay, you told me to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now my boss will review whatever that I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then he will say, okay, in the third thing you did the work like this. No, you should not do like this. Do it in a different way. And he will tell what different thing I have to do. So that's the next round of directing. So whenever I finish the first round of work, I will submit it to him. Then he will give corrections and feedback and ask me to do the work again. If he is satisfied, he will not ask me. He will ask me to do something different. But if he is not satisfied, or if he wants the work to be done in even much more in-depth manner, he will say, okay, you can ignore task 1, task 2, task 4 and task 5. Task 3 seems to be more important. Now go and focus more on that. It seems to be there is going to be some big problems in the future with respect to the task area 3. Go there and focus in deep. Spend 3 more days on that. So this keeps on happening. So that is directing, which is a continuous process. And then directing flows from top to bottom, which I just said. It always happens from top to bottom. We only give instructions to the maid in our house. The housekeeping maid will not give instructions to us. Okay, so who is commanding whom? Always person at the top will command the person at the bottom. So that's how the hierarchy works. That's how the nature of management also works. So that's the first segment of today's video. We saw what are the characteristics of directing. Now let's talk about the importance of directing. The first point is pretty much what we saw already. Directing helps to initiate action. So somebody is there to command people and get the people moving, or else people will just stay and not do anything, either out of laziness or out of lack of clarity. Both are not good for the company. So there has to be some person who should be driving the people beneath them. So that's the first point. Second point is directing integrates employee efforts in the organization in such a way that every individual effort contributes to the organizational performance. Directing ensures that the individuals work for organizational goals. So the boss should not just tell the employees, go and work. The boss should also tell, go and do what type of work, and whatever the boss tells, whatever the boss commands the employees to do, should be for the overall achievement of organizational objectives. So if I say that I like doing task X because I personally liked it, my boss should say, if he finds that doing task X is not going to be good for organization, it's not going to help the organization in any way, my boss will cut me short and say that stop doing task X, stop doing activity X, cut that from your day-to-day work. Go and do Y, task Y. That is more important for the organization. So you are wasting your time in doing this activity, stop doing that and then go doing the other activity. Because my boss will think that doing the second activity might be more beneficial for the organization. So the third point is directing guides employees to fully realize their potential and capabilities by motivating and providing effective leadership. You can see this example a lot in cricket. Let's say a player is very young and he's playing probably the first game or the second game, and he's very new to the field or to be playing at the senior level, at the international level. Let's say if he's a bowler and he comes and bowls the first over of his career at the international level, and let's say because of the stress and anxiety, because international games will have lots of audience, and some people will get little panicked if they have to perform in front of 20,000, 30,000 people. And if the captain finds that the bowler is young and he is very anxious, he will walk up to the bowler after each and after every delivery and he will say, okay, come on, this is very normal. Go back to your basics. Just do what you have been doing at the lower levels of cricket. It's pretty much the same only. You don't have to take it too seriously. He will tell some encouraging words and reduce the anxiety of the new player and nudge him towards performing well. So that is a very, very important aspect. Not every employee will be naturally confident right from day one. So some people will need dose of encouraging words every now and then to keep them performing well. So that's a very important point. The fourth point is directing facilitates introduction of needed changes in the organization. For example, let's say you work for me and we are working in the Chennai office, and your house is in Chennai and you pretty much like the Chennai office. But let's say the organization has branch office in Bangalore, or let's say the organization has a branch office somewhere in Andhra Pradesh. Now your family is in fully is in Chennai, but for the organization's purpose, we need you to take up the role in Vijayawada, or let's say you need to take up the role in Bangalore, which means you have to go out of Chennai. Now this is a change in your life. For me, it's not a change because I'm going to work in Chennai only. But for you, you are based in Chennai, you have been asked to relocate to some place, and the organization clearly tells you that the deputation in the new place is going to last for at least 2 years. It's not that you go today and you work there for 2 months and you can come back. No, you have to work there for 2 years. Put yourself in this situation. Now, this is a change. As your boss, my job is to somehow persuade you and say yes to this new change because it is required for the organization. Now, two things can happen. One is that I successfully persuade you and I say that, okay, I will give you some extra payment if you take up the transfer. I will give you extra 10,000 per month, extra 20,000 salary per month, some extra housing allowance I will give you, or vehicle conveyance allowance I will give you. I should back it up with some extra incentive and also with a little bit of extra persuasion. I will also say that, see, if you work in Chennai, you will get to learn, let's say, 10 new skills every year, but the role in Bangalore office is much more challenging. If you go and work in that office, instead of learning 10 things in Chennai, you might learn like, let's say, 27 things if you work from Bangalore office, if you handle that office, because the transactions are much more complex. Ultimately, it will improve your resume will look even much better. So some things I should say, I will, market the good advantages of you moving from here to there. Like I said, two things might happen. Because of all these incentives and all the potential challenge, if you are also up for it, you will accept the change and take up the transfer, and that way everybody wins. But let's say either I was not so great in persuasion, or let's say the organization is not ready to give you extra incentive for moving and everything. So you might not like the change, then you will resign and go to a different organization, which is not so good for the company. That's how directing is very important. Change management is extremely important because every organization is a dynamic one. How we started on day one, it's not that we will live with that forever. Like 10 years, there is no change at all. Every 3 years, every 2 years, there will be some noticeable change in our job. Either we will be located to a new different department, or we will be relocated to some different branch office. So we might have to change our residence, or we will be pushed into some different shift, or we will be asked to use a new type of software, new type of computer. Everything is change only. Everything is change, and that initial period of 3 to 4 weeks of change is difficult for everyone. So that the manager should be able to handle successfully. So that is very important. And let's talk about the last point. Effective directing helps to bring stability and balance in the organization. Every organization, in the organizing chapter, we saw there is a formal organization and there is an informal organization. You cannot avoid the creation of the forming of informal organization. If there is a formal organization, there will always be an informal organization in one form or the other. When informal organization exists, there will be groupism inside a company. People will create groups among themselves, 3 to 4 people, they will create some small tribe among themselves, and they might start going into war between them. It need not be a hot quarrel, or it need not be a very noticeable fight, like how dramatic, how they show in movies. It need not be that theatric or dramatic, but it could be a cold war also. I'm telling you out of my experience, in office environment, group wars work in this way. Let's say I belong to one group and I want data from a person who is belonging to a totally different group. Either he is in different department or he is in a different informal organization's group. Let's say our group leader is one person and that group leader is a different person, and these two leaders do not go well with each other, and the entire member of that group know that in our group how many people are there, and we also know in that group how many people are there. Let's say the group is I belong to finance department and the other group is purchase department, and these two departments do not go along well. Now how group war will work? I will ask for one detail from purchase department and purchase department will not give it to me. They will not say no directly. They will not reply to my mails, or they will say that you yourself can go and go into the software, go to the screen and you can get the data. They will say like that, but they would very well know that I do not have access for that screen. They will also know that, let's say, if I knew that I have to go into that screen, would I not take it myself? Why would I have to send a mail to that person? Then I will have to explain the fact that I do not have access to that screen. It's only with you. You only have to give me. Then they will unnecessarily say that, oh, it seems like I'm also not eligible to get into that screen. Let me check with my boss and then let me get back to you. Like this, what should have been done in 15 minutes, they will drag it for 3-4 days. So that the next time when we are up for review, we got the data late by 3 days. So either we have to work so hard ourselves because our deadline will be nearing. Either we have to sit in office late night and have to work, or we will not be able to meet the deadline and we will get bad review in front of the managing director. So this is how organization groupism works. It works at a very tolerable levels to a larger extent. Sometimes it crosses the limit, and that time the whole stability of the organization might go for a toss. So if you are an effective director, if you are an effective leader, you have to keep these things in check and you have to ensure stability and provide a safe working environment for the people in your organization. These are the characteristics and importance of directing. In the next video, we will talk about principles of directing. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you and bye-bye.